My question is to the Prime Minister. Hard-working Australian households and small businesses received news today that they will see huge increases in their electricity prices from July 1. Each year, households will be worse off by $594 in New South Wales, $512 in South Australia and $402 in South East Queensland, even though the Prime Minister promised they would be $275 better off. Why did the Prime Minister break his promise and lie to the Australian people?
I think I know what the Leader of the House is going to say, but I want to hear from him.
The Deputy Leader of the Opposition knows that that was out of order, and I ask, one, that it be withdrawn as unparliamentary, but two, that action be considered into whether the question remains on foot at all.
The question is out of order, but I'm going to give the Deputy Leader of the Opposition a chance to rephrase it, just to withdraw the last part of the question, start a question again without that inference at the end.
I withdraw the last part of the question, Mr Speaker, and my question remains to the Prime Minister. Hard-working Australian households and small businesses received news today that they will see huge increases in their electricity prices from July 1. Each year, households will be worse off by $594 in New South Wales, $512 in South Australia and $402 in South East Queensland, even though the Prime Minister promised they would be $275 better off. Why did the Prime Minister break his promise to the Australian people?
Call to the Prime Minister. Order. The member for Deakin, I just warned the member for O'Connor about saying things before the Prime Minister or any other minister speaks. You'll be warned now. If you say one more thing during question time, you'll be asked to leave. You've been continually disruptive all throughout the week. Give the call to the Prime Minister.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker. And I'm asked about promises with regard to energy. And at the 2019 election, of course, the Coalition promised to reduce the wholesale price of electricity to $70 per megawatt by the end of 2021. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen, Mr Speaker. By the time they left office, the price was $286. So they promised 70 and they delivered 286. That was what we inherited. The member for Hume, when they were in charge also, promised $1 billion to deliver 3,800 megawatts of new power generation. Spoiler alert, didn't happen. Not a single kilowatt. Not one. Not a single dollar.
Order.
Not even a watt. Not a why, but not a what. They promised also the feasibility study on Collinsville, didn't even publish a study. The proponents got $4 million. $4 million. For what? For what? They produced less than Barnaby Joyce produced as an envoy.
Order. Members on my left and right. The Prime Minister is using the incorrect titles for members, and I ask him to refer to all members by the correct order. And I want to hear from the Manager of Opposition Business.
On relevance, Mr Speaker, the question was very clearly about the Prime Minister's policies, this government's policies, and their lack of consistency with what they promise. Standing orders are very clear. Ministers can be asked about and can respond about what the government is doing. The Prime Minister is off on a frolic and he should be brought back to the question.
No, I'm just going to call the... If I'm trying to rule on a point of order, I don't need assistance from people interjecting. I was going to say the Prime Minister has had decent... I just call the Prime Minister in continuation. Order.
Seriously, Mr Speaker.
Order. Order. The Leader of the Opposition will cease objecting. The House is going to come to order. There is a general warning for the entire House now. The Prime Minister will be heard in silence, otherwise action will be taken.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker. And we also had, of course, promises about Liddell, which the former Minister, former member for Kooyong, used to stand here and speak about keeping it open, promised time and time again. It closed at the end of April, exactly as was planned under their watch. Exactly what was planned. What we've done is put in place a real plan of $3 billion of energy price relief that they voted against, up to $500 in bill relief for eligible households, up to $650 in bill relief for small businesses. Real relief, right off your power bill, right when you need it. We provided in the budget $1.6 billion for energy efficiency upgrades, including the new small business energy incentive. With Rewiring the Nation, $16 billion has been provided to unlock the grid, to upgrade it so that it's able to accept more renewable energy. Signed Marinus Link, talked about by those opposite, but nothing happened. Declared the first offshore wind zone in Australia. Deployed 400 community batteries are being deployed across Australia. We've implemented the capacity investment scheme to unlock over $10 billion of investment in batteries, pumped hydro and more renewables in our grid. We have practical plans. Every one of them is opposed by the naysayers opposite.